we're going to dive into one of your articles, September, that you wrote. I love getting to talk about the articles because we talk through so much more than just what's in the article. It's almost like really sitting down and having a conversation around what's in the article. And so that's really fun for me, really cool. And I'm super excited to talk about this because, I think especially like now looking back as an adult woman, I can look back and see myself as, being a teenager, being a daughter, and being in that place of really like struggling to gain my parents' trust, really not trusting them, just all of the different things that came along with that. And so I'm excited to hear your thoughts, but let's just start off by talking through who this article, Building Trust with Teen Daughters, was written to.
Yeah, I wrote this article to parents who have daughters like between the age of like 13 through 17, maybe as young as 12, but maybe 18 as well. 18 is kind of throwing in there the adult side. But just parents that are looking for some help, maybe they're struggling with how to set boundaries with their daughters, how to build just a healthy relationship. And then also just maybe there's some people that are like, okay, my daughter's almost 13. I want to make sure I do this right. I want to have kind of some preventative measures. So just being able to focus on how do I build trust and how do I have these healthy boundaries with my teenage daughter? So that's really who I wrote the article for. I've seen just in the 8 years that I've worked here, a lot of different parents with daughters just struggling. And so I thought of those types of clients when I specifically wrote this article.
Yeah. Can you touch on, those clients that you've had, those parents who were struggling? What specifically would you say that they were kind of struggling with around their teenage daughters?
Yeah, they, came in with maybe just looking at how do I manage my daughter having her own cell phone or social media, or even going out with friends, having more freedom when she got her license. Also could be they've recently found out that their daughter is suffering from self-harm or an eating disorder or anxiety, and they want to make sure that she gets the help that they need and that they can be most supportive to their daughter by having that trust, by building a relationship with them. And then some, it's just parenting issues, just as their teenage daughter is becoming a teenager. How do I navigate that? Because our relationship is looking different than when she was younger.
Yeah, so good. Will you define trustworthiness as you do in your article?
Yeah, in my article, I included some things with trustworthiness, quite a few, just because I think it's good to have that wide range viewpoint of what that is, and just to have some concrete things. So as a parent, when you're thinking through, okay, what do I need to be looking for with my daughter, and how can I communicate this to her realistically and specifically? So in the article, I define trustworthiness as keeping your word, being honest, having respect, accepting limits, and acknowledging your mistakes. And so to break those down a little bit, keeping your word is, maybe you're talking with your daughter and you're saying, hey, when I ask you to do something and you say you're going to do it, you're going to follow through. You're going to keep your word. And the flip side goes is as a parent, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to keep my word as well, because they're watching you and you're that role model for them. Also just that honesty piece of, and I talk about, and we'll get to later in the article, just it's more important to be honest, and there's going to be less consequences if you come to me and tell me that you made a mistake, rather than trying to hide it and having more dishonesty. Just that respect too, just that, that my daughter will speak to me with respect, but then also I will show her respect as well, in that I'm not going to, if I raise my voice or if I'm yelling, I acknowledge that that's may not going to be the best way to build that relationship with her. As well as just that accepting limits, that we can't always do the things that we want. We don't always get freedom that we want or responsibility right away. And just having to earn that, having to show people that, maybe it's in a job and maybe we started out just kind of the lower end, and we have to show our employer that we can be trusted to have higher responsibilities and more responsibilities. And part of those things are just accepting that some of those parts of our employment or job don't include maybe some of the things we would like. Also just acknowledging that we make mistakes, and that your daughter makes mistakes, that you as a parent make mistakes. And that's an important thing too, is, letting your daughter know, like, if you made a mistake, letting her know that, and apologize and say, hey, I didn't act right in this, or I didn't respond the way I wanted to. And I want you to know that, and I'm working on it. And that models for your daughter that she's going to make mistakes, but come talk to me about it, because that's going to be more important than trying to prove you're perfect or trying to hide it.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back to that like honesty piece in your article that you touch on, just staying informed in your daughter's life and what she's up to and what she's doing and what she's pursuing. And I guess my thought is, so many teenage daughters don't want to talk about it, don't want to like have those conversations and really open up. So, what if they don't? What if you try to stay informed on their life and they don't want to talk about it?
Yeah, that is a difficult situation. But a couple things that I would recommend is, with being informed, it kind of consists of two things. One, the communication, but then secondly, also the relationship. First of all, it is really important that you stay involved in your daughter's life, with the activities that she's doing. She may tell you, I don't want you to come to my softball game, or I don't want you to come to the art show, but still do your best to be there, to support her, to show her that what she's interested in is important to you. And also praising her for that. I know you've worked really hard to make JV for softball, or I see that you worked hours on this art project or practiced the song, and I'm just so proud of you for the hard work that you put into it. And so having and maintaining that relationship is key. That's going to help her open up to you. And it's just little things of being there, of like we talked about before, like if you say you're going to go to something, go, or if you're not able to, let her know why, and have a conversation around it. And just spending time together at home. Maybe that's watching a movie together, making sure that each night you guys, or as many nights as you can, have dinner as a family. If you're a dad, maybe making kind of a time where it's kind of your time with your daughter and it's just the two of you. Same with mom, just having those times together. And then the communication piece, the important piece with that is really, when you approach your daughter, not making her talk to you, but just letting her know, hey, I noticed this, or I care about you, and I'm just curious. When you're ready to talk with me about it, please come and talk with me. I'm willing to listen. And having just being more like receptive and attentive to your daughter, rather than trying to judge her. Be curious. Why did she make this decision? And how can you really understand where she was coming from? Now, there is a point as a parent, obviously, when certain things happen, you do have to be more specific and get information, obviously. But in everyday kind of conversations, really trying to open that up for her, that if there's things that she needs to talk about, you're going to be there for her, and you're going to do your best not to freak out, because that's a hard thing too. But you are her parent, so I definitely understand when that happens.
That's good. I see myself in a lot of what you're saying from when I was a teenager. And, my parents did the best they could. I was the first child, first daughter to kind of go through and bring them into that stage. And, I definitely see things that maybe could have been different, and things that maybe I would love to do differently when I have kids someday. So I definitely see the importance of being informed and just that trustworthiness piece, I think, between, both the parents and the daughter, and going back and forth, where, the daughter trusts them and then they trust her too, I think that that's just so important. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the freedoms that that she may want, that they may not want to give her, that kind of thing. You say in the article, freedom isn't always free. So can you expand on that idea a little bit?
Yeah, just that daughter understands that freedom is built on that trust. That if she wants more freedoms, she has to show you that she can be trustworthy, and that if she can treat something well, if she can be responsible in something, that then she can be given more. And also, it's helpful in this area is to be pretty specific or be pretty direct. And the example I gave in the article was about like an iPhone and social media. And so, talking with your daughter about, hey, this is the things that you need to do to show me that you're responsible enough to get on social media or have a phone. It's not just that, okay, you turn 13 or 15, here's your phone, here's your, you can be on social media. It's, hey, are you responsible enough to have this, these privileges? Do you know safety online? Do you know if something comes up for you, who to talk to about it? So just the fact that she wants all of these freedoms, but it does take time to be able to have those things. And praising her, like if she does something really well, if you tell her, if you want a phone, you have to show me that. If you are going somewhere, you are there when you say you're going to be there. Praising her about that and letting her know, hey, that shows me that I can trust you, and that shows me you can handle more freedom, or you're building up to what you're wanting. Because it can also be difficult for a teenager, a teenage girl, just like feeling maybe her parents want her to do these things to be responsible, but it's not building up to anything. And so helping her see, kind of have small goals, helping it be pretty tangible of, hey, these are the 3 things we would like you to do to show that you're responsible, trustworthy. And when she does them, praise her for that, remind her of that, and then remind her, hey, this is something you've worked for, and I feel like you're able to have that freedom responsibly. I guess an example of that would be, if we look at, I think a good example for like teenage girls or just teenagers is getting their driver's license. They don't just hand that to you when you're 16. You have to take a test, you have to study for it, you have to prepare, you have to prove to the DMV that you can drive and you're responsible, and then they'll let you have your license. And so similarly with parenting and with freedoms, is there's specific tests that she needs to prove, hey, I can be responsible with to show you I deserve these things.
Yeah. It's so like easy for me to hear what you're saying and look at it now, pre-kids, pre-having teenage daughters. But I just think to myself, what about the parents that maybe didn't implement any of these things and now their daughter's 15, 16 years old? I mean, what if your daughter is just already indifferent, doesn't trust you, doesn't want to be with you, doesn't want to talk with you? I mean, what then?
Yeah, that is a great question. What I would tell you is it's never too late, and that you may feel like it's hopeless, but it's not. It is going to take time, because if these haven't been implemented, your daughter has learned maybe she can act or behave in a way that maybe isn't helpful to her, or maybe isn't responsible. So when you initiate the boundaries, when you initiate these new maybe specific rules that you have, she's going to push against those. She's not going to like them. But the important thing is that you're consistent and you communicate to her, hey, this is why we're doing this. This is what's important for this with us. But maybe it is also like, maybe need to go to counseling, maybe need to seek some family therapy just to be able to build that relationship if there's hurt in the past. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just a lot to do on your own. And that's okay. There's no shame in that. We all need help at certain points in our life, and being able to ask for that is an important piece. And of course, your daughter may be like, I don't want to go to counseling, I don't want to work on this. But if you can kind of humbly tell her, hey, I really care about you, and I would like a relationship, I would like to work on this. If you're willing to just try, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah. What would you, September, as a counselor who specializes in this area, say to the parents reading this article?
Yeah, I would just tell them, number one, I guess there's a couple things I would tell them. Like I said just a little bit ago, it's never too late. Even if your daughter's 18, yes, she can make her own decisions, but communicating to her that you want a relationship, and that if she's willing, you're willing to work on it with her, whatever you need to do. Also just keep, working hard, because I know it's hard to raise a teenager in this day and age, and making sure that you remind yourself that you are doing good work, and getting people around you to support you in parenting, because it is difficult, and that support is going to be so valuable to you.
Yeah, it's a different world that we're living in now with technology, and teenage girls look a lot different than even I looked. And, that was what, like 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago for me. And so even now they look super different from how I looked. And, this is just the age of like digital natives and kids that were literally born into a world with the internet. And it's different, and it's different. And I can imagine for parents that it's so hard because, you don't even know the boundaries because they've never been there.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely with those boundaries, being as concrete as you can. Mm-hmm. And if you can be the one to communicate those and implement them as early as you can. But like I said, it's never too late to start implementing them, because even if she's 15, 16, her learning those boundaries now is going to help her when she's 18, when she's 20, out on her own. And so, and specifically with like the internet, seeking resources of, how can I set boundaries? What are the best resources that I have to set those boundaries? And being able to communicate to her, hey, if I'm going to check your phone once a week, and if there's nothing on there that you haven't told me about and you're acting responsibly, then I'm going to give you more freedom with that, and just more, because we don't want to not give her the tools that she will need when she is on her own.